Hey there, my pretties. It's Lion Queen here. Welcome to episode 351 of Shadows and Pretties. So today we are going to look in this 1974 Canadian slasher film, produced and directed by Bob Clark and written by Roy Moore. And today we're going to pretty much do this movie, review this movie called Black Christmas. Now there is two remakes of Black Christmas, like there is the one from 2006 and there is one from 2019, which I'll review those in two separate films. So, yeah, this film pretty much is inspired by the urban legend The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs, and a series of murders that took place in the Westmount neighborhood of Montreal, Quebec. So, pretty much this movie was shot in Toronto in 1974 on an estimated budget of $6,086, and it was distributed by Warner Bros. In North America. So apparently this movie has, mixed reviews, but to me personally, I thought this was actually quite good. I mean, the actors did a really good job. I thought the film was really neat. It was actually quite interesting. I personally really think that it was really enjoyable and stuff, which is pretty nice that it's made in Canada. So that is actually quite something. So now I will talk about the two remakes of it in the future, which there is that you guys may know. There is the 2006 remake and the 2019 remake. So I will talk about those in the near future in Shadows and Pretties. So with that being said, I'm going to sit there and talk about what this movie is about for those of you guys who have not seen the movie in a really long time and would want a refresher, or for those who have not seen the movie. So, I guess I'm gonna get started. Basically, the plot is about an unseen man climbs in the exterior of the Sorority house where a Christmas party is being held and enters the attic. The house phone then rings, and Sorority's sister Jess Bradford answers to discover it's an obscene phone call from a person who has called before, whom sorority is nicknamed the Moaner. Jess and the sorority members listen as the caller rants and screams in strange voices before abruptly threatening to kill them. Upset by the call, a younger student named Claire Harrison decides to leave and goes upstairs to her bedroom to pack her suitcase. There, unbeknownst to the rest of the sorority, Claire gets attacked and expectorated by the intruder. So the following morning, Claire's father arrives, saying that Claire had failed to meet him at the train station. House mother Miss McHenry offers to help Mr. Harrison look for her. Later that day, Jess informs her boyfriend Peter that she is pregnant and plans to undergo an abortion, much to his disapproval. Meanwhile, Harrison and two other sorority members, Barb and Phil, attempt to report Claire's disappearance to Sergeant Nash, who does not take them seriously at first until Chris Hayden, Claire's boyfriend, barges in angrily in the day and demands something to be done about it. So a search party is held that night for Claire, which Harrison, Chris, and most of the sorority gets involved, while Miss McHenry discovers Claire's body in the attic before the killer murders her with the crane hook. Shortly later, Jess answers another obscene phone call and decides to file a report with the police. Shortly after, Lieutenant Fuller arrives with the telephone lineman to tap on the phone so that the police can determine the identity of the harasser. After Fuller leaves, a group of Christmas carolers appear at the front door, and as Jess watches the singers, a killer sneaks into Barb's room and stabs her to death with a glass unicorn figurine. And with her cries of help being drowned out by the carolers, Jess then receives another obscene phone call, in which the caller emulates the parts of the earlier argument that she had with Peter. Lieutenant Fuller calls her to say the attempt to trace the call failed, and they both begin placing suspicions towards Peter. Jess and Phil finally decide to lock every door and window in the house. Shortly after, however, Phil is murdered by the killer after finding Barb's body. Jess receives yet another obscene phone call, which is successfully traced by the police. Sergeant Nash instructs Ness to leave the house immediately. as he calls coming from inside the house. Jess goes to alert Barb and Phil, only to discover them dead. Jess sees the killer's eyes staring at her through the door crack before she slams the door against him and flees. The killer chases after her and is unable to open the front door. Jess runs into the basement, locking it behind her. Shortly after, though, Peter breaks in through the basement window and slowly approaches Jess, and he asks worriedly if she is okay. In a state of panic, Jess beats Peter to death with a fire poker, and the police find her barely conscious as she cradles Peter's body. Believing that Peter was the killer, the police had put Jess to bed and leave her sleeping alone in the bedroom with the police officer standing outside the house. Shortly after, the killer's voice is heard from the attic, where Claire and Miss Mack's corpses remain undiscovered. The attic hatch opens, and before the door to the house's telephone begins to ring, that's how the movie ends. I personally really have to say this was actually a really good story. I thought it was really neat and well done. I mean, there is actors that I have no idea who they are, and I don't recognize them, so there's that. But I personally thought this was actually a pretty good story. I mean, the storyline of it looks really good. I personally really thought it was really enjoyable and stuff like that. I personally thought it was really neat, so there's definitely that. And what I also do really like is, the acting did really good. Like, the actors did a really awesome job. I personally really enjoy, the actors that were in this film. They did a really good job. I like the concept of this movie. I thought it was really good and well done. I like the deaths in there. And there is a bit of gore here and there, which I think it's pretty neat. So there's definitely that. But I really do like the horror of this, which obviously really helps out a lot. And that's something I really do enjoy about this movie. Now, I know some of you guys may disagree with me on this movie, but I didn't think this movie was actually that bad. I thought it was actually quite good. It was really neat for what this movie is. It's a really good movie. Like, even though it's made in the 70s, I personally still thought it was enjoyable. Like, it's a really amazing film, and I personally like this movie a lot. I thought it was really neat and well done. Now, there is a 2006 remake to this, which I'll talk about, that movie in another video, as well as the 2019 remake, which I'll talk about. But the difference is that, Black Christmas 2006 is a remake of, of the original Black Christmas, but you know, it was shot in location in Vancouver in British Columbia in Canada. So that is definitely something that I did not know about. So it obviously we do know that it is a remake of it. So there's pretty much a lot of differences in that movie. So yeah. That's definitely something I can definitely say is that there is a lot of differences in that movie. But other than that, I personally thought this was a really enjoyable Christmas horror movie, which I personally really enjoyed it a lot. Now, like I said, I mean, if you disagree with me, like if you don't like this movie, that's totally understandable. I can respect your opinion if you don't like this movie, but I will say this is definitely a really enjoyable film. I personally really thought it was really enjoyable and well done. It's definitely a fun movie to watch. If you're a horror fan like myself, you definitely really have to check out this movie if you haven't. I think it's on YouTube, so you could probably watch clips of it on YouTube and stuff, so there's definitely that. But I definitely have to say, if you want to go check out something, go check out this movie if you haven't. It's a pretty good, well-made, done movie. I really like this movie a lot. Like, I first watched this, like, maybe a few years ago, and it was actually a pretty good film. I personally really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it a lot because I thought it was a really good and well-made film. So, while it did have its flaws, I personally still thought it was enjoyable and stuff. So, it's definitely a really good film. So, with that being said and that being the case, like I'm always gonna say, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too, because we're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these movies, and this is just simply my own thoughts. Now, yeah, if you don't like this movie, I respect your opinion. And if you like this movie, I can respect your opinion too. So, anyways, what did you guys personally think of this movie? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload. That way you guys will not miss an upload. As always, if you guys want to go follow me on Blue Sky, Twitter, and DeviantArt, links to those will be in the About page section. And I'm also known as Shadow the Lion Queen, so I know I keep calling myself Lion Queen, but you know. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, as a link to that will also be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on there. And as always, that's all I have pretty much have to say. But if I'm missing something about this movie that I did not talk about, let me know what it is, and I'll be seeing you guys all in the next video. Peace out, like always. I'll see you all next time.